And in the label file, I think time is very short, so I won't be able to go into much details. Briefly, we'll see label file basically collects all the labels that we have. Labels, the names that we are using in our accounts, in our balance sheet, in our profit and loss account. If the word sundry debtors I'm using, that is our label. And corresponding to it, it may be the standard name which will be common world over, or at least in India this year, would be, let's say, gross receivable. Gross receivable word will be the element name which will be common across all the balance sheets in India which have been prepared on the basis of XBRL. And somebody may be using sundry debtors, somebody may be using lendar, different languages, different words may be used. So this is how comparison will be possible. So there will be a separate file called a label file. And the left hand side you can see the element name, which is the standard name, and on the right hand side is the label, the name that you use. This is how a label Linkbase file looks like. Not much readable, but if you can try, you can read it, a little of it. Then there is a presentation Linkbase. It gives the presentation in the chart format that we prepare, in the tree structure that we prepare the accounts, group, ledger, sub-ledger, all those kind of presentation is there in the presentation file. There is a separate presentation file for this purpose. Like this, if you see in the taxonomy, it is in this format. If you see in the balance sheet that we normally prepare, it is in this format. And if we see in the XBRL format, it is in this manner. Here, it is nothing different. It's just a different way of presentation. The same things are there. Balance sheet, sources, uses, current assets, fixed assets, all that presentation, that is there in machine readable form. The machine can read it in the same manner as you can read a normal balance sheet. Then there is a calculation Linkbase. Basically it defines whether the item that we are referring to is to be added or is to be subtracted, or nothing is to be done. In the case of an abstract is nothing but a group. In the case of a group is neither to be added nor to be subtracted. But for other items which are under the group, which are the children, as they say technically, and the group is a parent, the children have to be added or subtracted. And if the weight is 1, we have to add it, and if the weight is -1, we have to reduce it. That simple. Nothing needs more to be done. This is how a calculation Linkbase looks like. And as if you can see the highlighted -1, that is accumulated depreciation. That is obviously reduced. That is why it is a -1 weight. And once you use the software using any of the approaches that have been discussed, you are able to generate the instance document. Instance document is nothing but the final document which is to be uploaded. That may be the balance sheet, that may be the profit and loss account, etc. And it contains the various data with the values and contexts. It is nothing but an electronic report of financial statement, and it must be linked to at least one taxonomy, which is C&I taxonomy in our case. And as I said, separate documents have to be, instance documents have to be created for balance sheet, profit and loss account, etc. This is how an instance document looks like. Again, separate tags for each item, whether it is the PAN, whether it is the year, whether it is the duration. There are separate tags for each item. Tagging minimum versus mandatory requirement, I think very important. It is part of the practical thing, so I wish to take it briefly. Just as in the picture you can see, the driver, helmet is compulsory for him. Helmet is compulsory, he must wear it. And if there is a person sitting behind, the pillion rider, in that case he also has to wear the helmet. That is the difference between, to a basic extent, the difference between minimum and mandatory tagging. Minimum tagging is that information is to be included in the instance document if the company has reported it. As per law or as per other things, if the company has reported, then the company has to show it in the instance document. Additional information other than this is optional. If it wishes to show, it can show. Otherwise, it may not show that. For example, if you see this schedule of share capital, here you can see the 2 footnotes. One footnote is about shares brought back during the year. This is part of the minimum tagging requirements. They have specifically said that this is part of the minimum tagging requirement, and since the company has disclosed it, it must be disclosed in the XBRL converted document also. The other footnote, which is regarding equity shares allotted pursuant to a scheme of amalgamation, that you may or may not show because it is not part of the minimum tagging requirements. You must understand the difference between the two. Levels of tagging, again, in case of some items you have to do detailed tagging, in other cases you have to do block text tagging. balance sheet, profit and loss account, schedules to balance sheet, schedules to profit and loss account, and cash flow statement wherever applicable has to be detailed tagging. Each and every item in this balance sheet or profit and loss account or schedules thereof has to be linked to the standard taxonomy. Each and every item, you cannot leave any item unless and until it is not part of the tagging requirements, etc., minimum tagging, etc. Besides that, we have the audit report, director's report, notes to accounts. For these we have text block tagging. Let's see how. Then again, general information about the company, I think generally we are giving, but some additional things are there like SIN. SIN has also to be given of the company. Then other things, details of principal product, etc. we are also presently giving. They have to be given later on also. Then what kind of report it is, whether it is balance sheet or profit and loss account, whether it is a standalone report or a consolidated report, all these things also have to be given. Auditor's information. Auditor's information also has to be given. This is part of the minimum tagging requirements. It has to be given. Name of audit firm, name of the auditor signing the report, membership number, address, PAN of the auditor, and or the audit firm in the case of firm, SRN of Form 23B. In many cases, even the consent was not filed with ROC or MCA, but now it has to be filed because it is part of the minimum tagging. It has to be there. So if the Form 23B has not been filed in any cases, please file it now because it will be required in the case of uploading. Probably you won't be able to upload the document otherwise. Then date of signing balance sheet and the auditor's report, etc. is to be given. Then the entire audit report is to be shown separately, the total audit report without doing anything with it. You just copy it and you paste it. Thereafter, you also have to tell whether the audit report has been qualified or not. Yes or no, there is no option of not applicable. Either it is qualified or it is not qualified. It happens because in many cases, generally though, audit reports are not qualified because everything is in order. Even if in some cases it is qualified, the language used is such that we don't understand whether it is a qualification or the company is being praised.